Welcome to Comfort Zone, a podcast all about pushing your host, outside of their comfort zone. I'm Christopher Lawley, and each week I am joined by two incredible co-hosts, and this week I'm hoping they feel a lot better than I do. As always, I am joined by Matt Birchler. Matt, how are you doing?
Chris, I'm doing great. I'm going the opposite direction as you today.
Yeah, I'm not. I have a massive cold. We're also joined by Niléane. Niléane, how are you doing?
Not sure because I'm not sure who you are. So
Yeah. Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. I've always wanted to do that. I just have a massive cold. Luckily, it's a light Chris episode, except the tiny topic session is all mine this week. On the last episode, we talked about, I mentioned how the MacBook Air wasn't exactly great at editing video, didn't have enough RAM or anything like that. Well,
Chris,
I went
can
back.
you just
Yeah.
go back to your normal voice?
I literally can't. This right now is my normal
this
voice.
Is extremely disturbing. Okay.
I'm so sorry to everyone. I have a few things in the tiny topics, and then you won't hear from me until the challenge. Because this is what I've got this week.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. But anyways, the MacBook Air that I have here, the review unit, only has 16 gigs of RAM. I mentioned I tried editing a video on it, and it got really hot, and then it thermally throttled. I actually edited the very last episode of Comfort Zone, all from that MacBook Air, start to finish, even running everything through Hush on the MacBook Air. And it handled it fine. The trick is close everything else out when you're doing those big tasks. So if you're editing video, doing AI stuff, close out all the stuff in the background, and it'll handle it just fine. The only thing that took forever was the render, but I just set that up and kind of set the MacBook Air to the side and let it do its thing. But yeah, MacBook Air worked for video editing, still only has 512 gigs of storage, so I probably won't be doing a lot of video editing on it because that's not enough storage.
Video really takes up space quickly. I have a 1 terabyte MacBook Pro, and I basically get 2 projects at a time, and then it's off. I have to offload it to the NAS.
Yeah, so that's about so my 2 terabyte iPad Pro has about 700 gigs of base storage, base stuff, that because I keep all my files, all my photos, and my music library local. So that's about 700 gigs. So I get about 2 to 3 video projects on it before I have to start putting things on external drives or the NAS or things like that. So back in my M1 Max MacBook Pro days, I had a 4 terabyte M1 Max MacBook Pro, and I would use that storage. I would use that space easily. And then the other thing I wanted to call out in the tiny topics is Matt put out a video about defending all of the apps he has installed on his Mac, and it is a very good video. I've been watching it over the course of the week, as I eat lunch and stuff like that, because it's a long video. I'm proud of you for making long videos. You're becoming me. But yeah, it's a very, very good video. So everyone should go check it out.
That's good to hear. I recorded that video weeks ago and was like, does anybody even care? Every once in a while I feel this about a video I make. I get to the end of it and I'm like, is this any good? And yeah.
Well, not only do I like it, but I know the boss, Federico Viticci, likes it because he linked to it in his story about web apps on the iPad. So I think you did a great job. I think it's a really interesting video and kind of a different take of here's a bunch of apps I use. No, here's everything I use. Let me defend it for you. And you were very honest about this is here. I don't know why this is here for a few of them. And I'm going to delete them afterwards. So
that's true. I got to an app at one point called Flurp and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, that just about does it for Tiny Topics because I need to stop talking for a while. Niléane, you're first up in our document. What do you have for us this week?
Can you just say something iconic?
Okay.
I don't know. What's...
I got something for you.
Yeah?
No, I am your father.
Perfect. Okay. Now I can go. So last week, as part of my challenge, I unveiled that I got a new iPhone so that I could have more storage to store all of my music.
I realize now you told us the storage, but you didn't tell us what color you got.
I got Desert Titanium.
Nice.
There's something funny because so I went to the Apple Store for this because I traded in 2 devices to purchase it, and so the employee asked which color I wanted, and I said desert, like in French, and they were so confused. Like and the reason for that is that in France it's not called desert.
Oh.
It's called sable, which means sand. It's called
Hmm.
Oh.
sand. Yeah.
Sand is coarse, rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Yeah.
That's a
Exactly.
Star Wars reference for you, Matt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a great series of movies if you've never heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, so I wanted to talk to you about this phone today, and give you an extremely very exclusive first look at the iPhone 16 Pro.
Nobody's ever seen it.
No,
First look, first review
time.
ever.
Yeah, first review unit ever out in the world. So yeah, anyway.
No, I like this because it's a great way of kind of catching up on the iPhone, almost halfway through its life cycle. So, or this iPhone.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
So it's actually the first time in years that I've had a new iPhone that's like the latest model. Usually I always buy the one that came the year before because I buy them used or something like that. So it's interesting to be caught up. I get to try out the things that people talked about not so long ago, including camera control.
Ooh, tell us everything.
So I was dubious at first because it feels finicky. It
Mhm.
feels finicky to even press on it. But I think after a few days, I think I like it. I like it a lot.
Nice. Now, did you do the thing where you disabled all the extra features and camera control just launches the camera app and takes a photo?
I did not. I'm using the full set of
Ooh.
features, and I think I've got it dialed down. I can pretty reliably do the double press thing, the light press, to get into the menus and out. Yeah, I think I like it. Zooming with it is just very satisfying in general. Just switching between the cameras, and yeah, this led me to an issue which I did not expect to encounter. That employee, talking about her again, she did great, by the way. But she suggested at the Apple Store that do I want a case with that? And I went, nah, I don't need a case because I'm going to get it on by myself later. Uh, yeah, you want me to go naked? I will not go naked with
Team
my iPhone.
caseless.
Yeah,
I haven't
Team
had a
case.
case on an iPhone since the iPhone 6S, which ironically is the only iPhone screen I've ever cracked. So,
yeah, but I think you have a car, you live in a house, and the outside world is not great for you.
yeah, that's true. I mostly just stay indoors. I'm pretty much shut in.
Whereas I'm not saying I go out much, but when I do go out, I take the train. I go on walks. I
Wait,
go
do
into
you think my
public
car is
transit.
do you think my car's dangerous for phones?
No,
it
I'm
just
saying
my phone has a little cubby in my car. It just sits right there.
yeah, on the contrary, I'm saying your car is very comfortable for phones. It's
Oh.
very safe for phones,
Oh,
which is
okay.
why
Yeah,
you
yeah.
probably don't need a case. Whereas I
Gotcha.
take trains, and there's so many people around me all the time when I go out, so it's dangerous environment. And when I go
Gotcha.
on walks, sidewalks are dangerous. Pedestrians, yeah, cars
Oh,
that I am not inside of that,
Can I-
may collide with me at any moment.
Can I tell you real quick the most insane way I've ever heard someone break their phone, which
Oh,
is with
yeah?
a car? They somehow break a phone every year or so.
Whoa.
We continue their family member who continues to get hand-me-downs for other people because they break at least one phone every 12 months. Somehow, they had their trunk open of their car. They had their phone resting on the back window kind of just
Oh
like resting at the
no.
bottom. They didn't really think about it, and they slammed the trunk shut, and it folded the phone completely at 90 degrees.
First foldable
Ouch.
iPhone.
Yes, it did not survive. I
Ouch.
delivered an old iPhone to them hours later.
Yikes. So yeah, that's a perfect illustration of why I'm going with a case once again. But anyway, I did not want to pick one up at the Apple Store because the colors this year, they're not great. Like the Apple's silicon cases, some weird color choices there. I think some people like it. I don't really like them. So we're talking colors now, but the shades of colors that they've picked are very cold. Like on the cold warm slider, they're towards the colder side, not really warm colors. And I tend to like warm colors. So yeah, I thought I would get a separate case. In the span of 1 week, guys, I've gotten 2 cases. The first one is a silicon case, a yellow silicon case from Elago, which is a brand I've mentioned a few times already because I've got an iPad case from them, which is great. It's just a back cover, magnetic back cover, as well as an iPad stand, a magnetic iPad stand, which are an aluminum one, which are nice. So I thought, hey, I will give their cases a try. They have silicon cases and they have colorful MagSafe compatible cases. So I picked one of those up. This yellow case is not great at all. I really dislike the
Oh.
feeling of it.
It's no Nicolas Cage shirtless being peeled out of a banana.
Oh, sure.
I hadn't
Call
thought about
back
that
to our
more.
iPhone case challenge. Yeah.
Did you win that poll? Is that one
Yes,
of the?
I did. Yes, I
Yeah.
did. I did win that
Yeah.
one by a
Yeah.
landslide.
And he calls me a coup maker, Yeah. So, and more importantly, to come back to the camera control, that silicon case had a cutout for the camera control, which was very uncomfortable. Like it was very close to it. The cutout was very small around the button, which made using it not great at all. And this is when I realized that it's a nightmare to get a case, like a decent case now easily. If you go, usually I would just either buy one from Apple or get one from Amazon. And this time around, like just browsing on Amazon, the cutouts all look terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They all look just as uncomfortable. And I didn't want to buy yet another one like that. So in the end, I got a leather case from Nomad.
Oh, I like Nomad.
I
In
like
fact,
them too.
that's what this my watch band is.
Yeah, I've had a few of their cables and chargers. They're always really nice. So I got their traditional leather case from Nomad, and this one is really nice. I got it today actually. It's very nice. The buttons are very clicky. They don't feel mushy, which I always afraid of. And a cutout around camera control is significant, let's say. Like there's a lot of space. I will show it on camera right now. It's a very large cutout around
Yeah.
around cam. Focus in some way, please. Okay, there you go. So it's comfortable. You can just use it as normal, as if you didn't have a case, because you can just swipe around on it easily. And it's MagSafe compatible, which is nice. So that's the case matter of it. Otherwise, regarding iPhone itself, this is my first time actually interacting with Apple Intelligence on iOS. Until very recently, it was simply impossible to access in the EU unless you are called Federico Vitici and you have a weird Apple account setup, which is not my case. I have a
Federico finds a way.
Yeah, I have not my case. I have a very simple Apple account setup. I have a French Apple account. Always had. So yeah, I did not have access to it, but now it's available if you install the beta for iOS 18.4 in the EU, which I have done. Okay, so it's okay. Siri looks nice. That's a nice glow around the edges. Why not? I like it. The voices are nice. There are new voices. Double tapping the bar at the bottom of the screen to type to Siri. Very nice. I like
Very
it.
nice.
Setting timers with that is useful. It's practical. Apart from that, yeah, I don't really notice them and notice Apple Intelligence. Apart from one thing, which is summaries.
Yes.
Oh, the summaries. I finally get to see what it's all about. They're not great. I think like most of the time it's funny though. For now I'm keeping them on just because it's funny, just seeing how it tries to summarize things. Yeah, and there's one thing that since like my unique aspect here is that I'm French and I use two languages uh, back and forth every day on my devices. My devices are set to English. The UI and all of that is set to English, but I do use a French keyboard on my Mac, and even on the iPhone, I have a French layout that I can switch to type in French. So anyway, just to say, I have two languages going at the same time, and the summaries, for some reason, for a few days, they would not work with notifications with French content. And I could not figure this out. No idea why. I posted about this on the Club Mac Stories Discord. Great Discord server, by the way. If you want to join, just subscribe to Club Mac Stories. And somebody mentioned that maybe it's because I don't have French added as a preferred language in the iOS settings. The thing is, I don't think I had that because I had to reset entirely my phone last week, shortly after getting it, for reasons that I will not get into because it makes me mad. But I had to reset my phone and it was gone. So yeah, could have been that. But it did not fix itself for a few days again until yesterday. Suddenly, yesterday, the summaries started working for both English and French on my phone, including in the Mail app, but also on the lock screen with notifications with French sentences in French. So that's good.
Okay, so it just needed a couple days to warm up.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Downloading Macron on device or something.
I just assume the correct answer is you can't summarize the French. They're too complex. Like
Well,
you can't summarize a beignet and a Renault. Like that's everything I know about French culture: beignet, Renault, and the Eiffel Tower.
And baguettes.
And baguettes.
That's what I meant to say.
Bicycles and baguettes.
Bicycles? Is that a French thing?
Well, like a bicycle with a basket with a baguette sticking out of it.
All right.
It's definitely a stereotype. I think Match has stereotyped all of France.
Do you know that anecdote where the reason why the wheel in cars is on a specific side, depending on if you drive on the left or on the right in your country, is because it dates back, apparently, to the time when we were driving horse carriages and you didn't want like was it weapons to cross?
Yeah, I know
like
exactly
that?
what you're talking about because
Yeah.
if you're right-handed, so you don't want to shoot. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
Something
about.
like that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did I mention this? I have no idea.
I have no idea either, but I do know what you're
There
talking
was a
about.
reason, but okay. Anyway, yeah. So summaries, that's good. And I want to conclude this exclusive first look at the 16 Pro by commenting on the storage tier I got, which is 512 gigs.
Nice.
Very comfortable, I must say. Very comfortable. So I did transfer over since last week my entire music collection. I finished doing it. I was in the middle of doing it last time. Now it's done. Um, less than a quarter of that is filled. So I've got room to grow, which is perfect, which was the attempted goal.
How did you
Nice.
transfer everything over to it? Did you use a wire or just air? How do you? How does it work?
Yeah, good question. Doppler has a few ways to import music from the Mac. So you can use on the Mac a utility they have, which is called Doppler Transfer. It lives in the menu bar. One more menu bar app to add to yours, Chris, if you want.
Nice. Love a good menu bar app.
Yeah, so basically on the Mac in Doppler, you can right click on an album, a playlist, or whatever, and click Send to iPhone, which opens Doppler Transfer. And if your iPhone is on Wi-Fi, it will show up in the list. You just open Doppler, on the iPhone, and it will transfer over Wi-Fi directly to the app on the iPhone.
That's nice.
This is not how I did it, though, but that's the easiest way to do it because you don't have to plug anything.
For a one-off album, that seems like the
Yeah,
best way to
exactly.
do it for a one-off. But I'm assuming because you did quite a few albums, you did something different.
Exactly. So there's another way. You can do it in a very old school way. You can plug your iPhone into your Mac over
Nice.
USB-C, and your iPhone will show up in Finder. It's the same UI that you used to have for managing your iPod, for syncing stuff to your iPod and the first gen iPhone, etc. So in that UI, inside the Finder window, you click the Files tab, and there you will have a Doppler item onto which you can drop files directly. This works over Wi-Fi, but over USB-C, it's using USB 3 transfer speeds, so that's good. That went really, really fast.
Yeah, that's great.
I would love, and this will never, ever, 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 ever happen, but I would love for Apple to make a one-off iPod Classic again with like
yeah.
Bluetooth support and maybe Apple Music support and stuff like that. Like, just make a modern iPod. They'll never ever do it. And I know that there's people that kind of like hack iPods to kind of turn it into that, but I'd like something official. But
That would be amazing.
It would be great.
I'm not a nostalgia person, but I do miss it. I do miss a good iPod Classic.
Imagine a new gen iPod Classic with just Apple Music on it, and then it messes you up with your library every once in a while just to make you mad. Yeah, that would be
Hey,
great.
like we've established, my library already got messed up years and years ago, so I'm just all in on Apple Music now. I'm using it exactly the way they want you to use it.
So anyway, I'm done. If you have any questions about the iPhone, which you have never used or seen or heard about before today, go ahead. But I'm done.
How are you loving because you went from a 14, right?
14 Pro.
14 Pro. So
Yeah.
how are you loving the USB-C lifestyle?
Yeah, it's great. So it's funny because last week in our conversation, I just got out of in our group chat, I just got out of the Apple store, went home, tried to plug it in with a lightning cable, and this is when I realized it would not go in. It would just not go in. I was like, hey, my iPhone is messed up. But no, yeah, it's great. I think it's not making a huge difference for me. I carry around my AirPods Max anyway, which are lightning.
Okay.
I wireless charge at home all of my things, including the AirPods Pro. But okay, it doesn't change much for me. I don't think so. It did
Gotcha.
change something because now there's USB 3 speeds. So the transfer for that music went really fast. But yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite upgrades because I've been shooting some short stuff that I'll put out on the channel at some point in the near future. But I've been shooting it all on a 16 Pro, and the fact that not only can you shoot ProRes, but you can shoot straight to an external drive, and then you could just take that external drive, plug it into a computer, and edit right off that drive. And it's short stuff, so it's like performance-wise, I'm not too worried about it. Like I'm not worried about getting the most amount of speed out of it because it's a minute-long video. It's such a convenient workflow. It's such a nice workflow. I can definitely see a time in the future where when it comes for me to upgrade cameras, I go, do I really need a dedicated Canon camera anymore? Or should I just, keep my old iPhones around and just keep using those and instead of buying dedicated cameras?
Yeah.
Oh boy. That's big.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's right now. The big thing that's holding me back is I want an actual 50 millimeter lens on the iPhone, not this
It
like
already
digital
has it.
2x
It's
crap.
a 2x zoom. That's 5 lenses on this camera. It's incredible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, Apple.
And you can switch
Yeah.
between them using camera
Yeah.
control.
Yeah. No, that's not going to happen.
There's a funny thing, last thing about the Apple Store journey that I went on. While I was there, so they asked me, "Do you want to set it up at home or set it up here, restoring from iCloud, etc." I was miles away from home because I traveled to Lyon, which is not too like about an hour away from my place. So I wanted to set it up right there in the Apple Store before I got home on the train. I did that, and at the table that I was sat at, there was a like an older couple, like maybe maybe your age, like really old. You know what I mean? So sorry.
What? Maybe your age, like really old. Okay.
I'm going to hang up this call.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, an older couple of folks, and the husband was getting a new iPhone, and their new iPhone was an iPhone 16e. And can you try to guess what they were upgrading from? Because that shocked
Ooh.
me.
What
The
are they
employee
upgrading
was
from?
shocked, if that can help.
I'm
15
guessing.
Pro. I don't know.
No.
I'm going to guess an iPhone. Is it an iPhone?
Yeah.
Okay. An iPhone 5C.
Oh, wow. Okay, you went far.
Okay.
It was an iPhone 6, not 6S.
iPhone
Wow.
6. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that was
incredible.
crazy. And so this is the first time they've upgraded in I don't know how many years, and they got a 16e. So I guess that's who the iPhone is for as well.
Okay. I'm telling you, the SE is underrated. I think there's people for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're coming from the 14 Pro. What color 14 Pro did you have?
The black one.
The black one. Okay.
Yeah.
So you went with the light color this time. And the 14 Pro did not have the action button.
No.
So what are you using the action button for?
Oh, good question. I've chosen to set it to the so last time I said lamp of the air, and you said that's not how you call it.
Oh,
A flashlight. Well, that's it. I set it to flashlight, to the flashlight.
Okay. I wasn't
Maybe
sure
For
if that
UK
changed.
viewers, that would be the torch.
The torch. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting. So for me, I'm still using my Action Cut shortcut that I built way back when the 15 Pro first came out. And I love that. Just having like a list of like shortcuts I use all the time just pop up. Just run one of those. Like I find that still to be really useful. And then I have the flashlight on the lock screen. And then obviously the camera launches with camera control.
Oh, you guys are...
Matt, what are you using your action button for?
My action button is the camera.
Oh, that's right.
And
That's
the camera
a weird
control.
choice.
I would buy a whole new case that just covered up the camera control. And I could never use it again. That'd be great.
Okay.
I'm not a camera control fan, I guess.
Have you tried turning off all the extra features?
I have. I dislike it greatly.
Seriously, interesting. Why? Like what is different about the camera control button? I'm not trying to say you're wrong or anything, but what's different between the camera control button and the action button for launching the camera?
It's not where my fingers are when I'm taking a picture, because
okay.
I'm usually taking it in landscape, and I like hold my phone like this, and my finger is already there, so I just tap it. Whereas I have to kind of reach all the way around.
Yeah, but if you hold it like for me, my index finger is on it.
Yeah, my index finger's there.
Are you guys are giving me I'm holding it wrong? Really?
Yeah, you are.
We're doing this again. I thought I was out in 2010. Steve Jobs berated me for holding my phone wrong, and now it's
Camera
back.
You're holding it wrong. I mean, my thumb is on the action button, but my index finger is on the camera control button. And if I can, I'm not gonna waste a whole physical button. Apple doesn't add physical buttons to iPhones very often.
They don't. I love it. I love buttons.
That's
I'm a huge
true.
fan of buttons.
Buttons are great.
But yeah, this button isn't doing it for me
There's a funny thought is that when you look at this at the camera control, it's like feels like it should be Touch ID. This should be Touch ID.
That'd be great.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
looks
I like
like
Face
Touch
ID.
ID.
I like Face ID so much better.
We should
Face
have
ID
both. Both is good.
Yeah, we should have both. So many Android phones have both.
Yeah, do we really want to use like Android phones as like the bar? Like,
I think we
don't know.
can.
That's a little.
I think we
that's a
can.
little. Anyways, well, this is pretty cool. Anything else you want to add before we move on?
No, it's great. Feel free to let me know what did you think of my first look.
Honestly, best review I've ever seen. Marquez Brownlee, get out of the way.
Thank you. That's what I hoped.
Yeah. All right, Matt, you're next up in the document. What do you got for us this week?
Oh, I'm bringing a classic. I'm bringing an app that I think has come up a million times on this show, and it's not Clack.
Oh, thank God.
Mentioned again, goes in the show notes. Actually, I never do it. I always forget. But I'm bringing MacWhisper, which we bring up all the time.
We talk about this all the time.
But
okay.
I have a new appreciation for this app because it's just, I wanted to give it its time in the sun because it is wonderful. And it's, I just love this app. The first thing I love about this is that, or the big thing that I like about it is that it's all local LLM stuff, which is great. I have this theory that we'll see if it's right. I really feel like the quality of LLMs is leveling off, and we're kind of as good as we're going to be for quite a while.
Oh, you
and
think?
so, what's that?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just surprised. I thought like, it's not getting better?
I mean, it's getting a little better here and there, but like,
it's not growing like it was. Like it was like spiking exponentially, just constantly getting better and better and better. And now it gets like a little bit better. Like there's the research models and stuff, which I think are actually a really cool thing. I used it for, we have a Disneyland trip coming up, and I used one of the research models for that, and it actually gave me some really good information. But
even that's like it's a new way of using the model that was already out.
Exactly.
And like So yeah, I mean, like ChatGPT 4.5 came out, or GPT 4.5 came out, and people were like, I guess the tone of answer is a little different. Like we're really the jumps aren't what they used to be like a couple years ago. And so my grand theory is that we're kind of getting as good as we're going to get for quite a while. And as tech gets better and they optimize these better, we'll just have more of this running just on our phones, which will be great. But I love the MacWhisper is doing that already. Basically, if you don't know, I should introduce MacWhisper if you're not familiar with it. Basically, it is an app you download on your Mac, and it lets you download certain models that will take audio and turn it into text. That's the gist of it. And you can use this for many things. You can use this to feed it a podcast episode and generate a transcript. It not only lets you generate a transcript for the podcast, but it can do multi-speaker, which is very cool. So we're recording into Riverside. It's going to give us 3 audio tracks, one for each of us. And you can drag those 3 into MacWhisper, and it will make a single transcript that has the names next to each person.
Oh, that's really nice.
Which is very nice. Yeah, it's very, very nice.
But you have to have separate tracks.
You do need separate tracks.
Okay.
I think there is a way for it to auto-detect, but I tried this on one of our episodes, and it gave us it said there were 6 people, and it was not accurate. Yeah, I would start a sentence, and then it would say you started talking midway through my sentence. It was weird. I would not say.
Especially with Chris's voice.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash.
There's one more people.
But I should also mention, I need to send a support email to Libsyn. Libsyn hosts our podcast. I create a transcript of every podcast we create. I think, Chris, you might upload that to the YouTube channel.
I do.
Excellent. Castro and Pocket Cast users may wonder why they don't see a transcript. It's because Libsyn just doesn't let you upload a transcript. There's a thing there that you can drag it in, but every single time it says this file type's not supported, and it's it needs to be an SRT, and it is an SRT. Anyway, it used to work. It doesn't work anymore. I need to ask their support, but it's been months. But anyway, I generate a transcript for every episode of this podcast, and then I feed it. Well, what I used to do was feed it into ChatGPT. Now, in MacWhisper, you can actually enter your OpenAI or Anthropic or Google API key, and it can take your transcript and you can ask it a question. And so, or you can do whatever you want with it. And so what I do is I say, what are the things we talked about? And what did we say would be in the show notes? And this is a lifesaver for me because it finds the times where I said, oh, we'll put this in the show notes. And I will invariably forget that I said this or you said this, but the robot knows. And so the robot tells me. And it's very, very nice too.
Robots know all.
The robots know all. I also use it for my YouTube videos. I think it's great for that.
I use it for mine as well.
Yeah, it's very fast. I just, out of curiosity, while we were recording, so while I'm doing a whole podcast episode, I also in the background was transcribing our last podcast. It took 10 minutes to do a 90-minute podcast. Like, it's very quick. And that's an M2 Pro.
Yeah.
That's just an M2 Pro. You got your M4 Max boys over there. You guys can do whatever. I'm sure it'll be very, very quick. I have no idea, but it's probably very quick.
I mean, one of my like 20-minute, 30-minute videos, it does it in like 4 minutes on the M4 Pro. Like it rips through those things. It takes no time at all. In fact, usually it's I'll start it and I'll start doing like the descriptions and stuff for videos, and it's finished before I'm even done like gathering all the links for the video.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last thing, and the thing that had it top of mind for me today, is it does dictation on your computer. So not only can you give it an audio file or a video file, you can also have it monitor your web, your meetings. So if you have apps that you take like video calls in, you can have it automatically record those as well if you want, so you can get transcripts and summaries.
Oh, that's
So that's kind of cool.
amazing.
But the thing that it also does is dictation. So instead of using Apple's kind of built-in dictation, if you have issues with that, which I tend to if I talk for a long amount of time, it seems to like get bored or run into some sort of limit and stop transcribing well for me. You can just hold a keyboard shortcut down. So I have it set to the right command button. I just hold that down, and anywhere in the system where there's a text field, I can just start talking, and it transcribes it very, very well for me. Like proper nouns are capitalized.
That's sick.
It's very, very nice. The one thing that's not as nice as the native one is that it doesn't put the text on there in real time. Basically, once you let go, it will transcribe it. So it takes a couple seconds. So it's not perfect, but it's pretty cool either way.
I'm sure it's probably more accurate than Apple's version. I have so many issues with Apple's dictate. Like I love dictating things, especially like text messages and stuff, but I have so many issues with Apple's dictation.
Yeah, I find dictation works better on the Mac than on my iPhone. I try to like dictate into my iPhone. It's always like pain. I don't know why.
Yeah, it always gets like very common words wrong. But yeah.
What do you use the dictation for? Taking notes?
No, I don't take any notes for anything. It's all up here, and a lot of it just falls out. But no, what did I do? So because I'm old and decrepit, as you so nicely pointed out earlier, I occasionally, if I'm like typing a lot or coding a lot, my hands will start to like get sore. And I still want to keep going. I still want to blog. So actually I posted a blog post yesterday entirely dictated through MacWhisper, which is pretty cool. So yeah, basically, I tend to use it for when I'm writing things. Yeah. And then, so sometimes, like, especially if I don't know what to say, I can kind of like talk through it. And then I'll kind of go through that transcript, and then I'll just write something more coherent, more focused. But just talking through it is helpful. So I'll sometimes dictate that and then edit down to something nice.
Okay.
I love MacWhisper, and I preached the good word of MacWhisper to other boss of the show, John Voorhees, and he actually didn't care for it. He had a lot of issues with it. He found another service called 11 Labs, and it's instead of it being local, it's on the web. So you send your stuff out server side, and it handles it. And he really likes that for creating transcripts and stuff like that. what's nice is because it is on the web and not just a local machine. It means you could use it on an iPad or even an iPhone. You just upload your files and it handles it server side. So there are other options out there, especially if you're not able to install MacWhisper locally on a Mac, whether you have like a lockdown corporate machine or you work from an iPad or something like that. Like there are other options out there, but I haven't had issues with MacWhisper. The only thing that I ever have to do is if I do the transcript for our show, or if I do like the subtitles or something for my videos or something like that, I have to go in and you have to do find and replace for names. It struggles with names. It struggles with my last name. It especially struggles with Niléane's name, and I think it struggles with Matt's last name as well.
Yeah. So another pro tip for MacWhisper: in the settings, there is a place. I forget what it's called exactly, but there are like you can have it auto replace things. So if it misspells the names wrong in the same way, then you can I have a list of our names as well in my version where it'll have like there's like Niléane, like with like 3 E's, like it'll do. So like there's like
that's my favorite. That's my personal favorite.
there's a few ways it misspells our names, and so I've just put those in there, and most of the time now the transcript will auto fix it for me, even if it gets it wrong. So
nice.
I'm glad you brought up the price though. The price is one of the things I really love about MacWhisper. So it's free for the basic stuff, but if you want to use all the stuff I just talked about, it's 60 euros, which is it's a decent amount of money, but it's unlimited use. It gets updated like every 3 days. And I'm looking at some of the other options out there, and the pricing sucks compared to this. So
like the 11 Labs things, I believe you pay per use of it, which it is fine if you don't use it very often. Like that's not that big of a deal, but it like for us, you and I both do it for our videos and we do it for this podcast.
Yeah.
That could add up pretty quickly.
We do 4 podcast episodes a month. That's like, if they're like, I don't know, 80 minutes each. Oh God, why did I decide to do math? 240 minutes of, 320 minutes. 320 minutes of transcriptions every month. On 11 Labs, that would be $100 a month.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't do multiple runs at it, right? Like what I just did an extra one for no reason right now just to see how fast it went. That would have cost me credits, and like locally it doesn't matter. I found an app called Super Whisper. Yeah, Super Whisper, which is kind of the same deal. But it is $85 per year, or there's a $250 lifetime. I don't know, man. I just really like that it's local. If they went out of business today, which it seems like they won't because they sell an enormous number of these, like it's a very successful app. Like it'll just keep working. It's a local model. I don't need to worry about credits. I don't need to worry about limits. I don't need to worry about energy usage, right? My Mac uses a marginal amount more energy, I guess, but like no more than a video export would. So I think it's great. Like if there was a better option, I would love to hear about it. So please let me know on Mastodon if there is something better than MacWhisper that lets me transcribe podcasts, transcribe videos, and if it could do the dictation as well, that'd be fantastic. But I think this is the GOAT as far as I've found myself.
Yeah, I like it. Like you said, I bought it. I just use it. It's really nice. I wish they had an iPad app. I know that I have a test flight for a Whisper transcription app for the iPad, but it is in beta right now. It's not on the App Store. I'll talk about it when it comes out. But there is an iPad.
Is it good? App. Can you tell us if you like it?
I've only ran like a couple of things through it.
Okay.
I need to play around with it more.
Okay.
I've been playing around with the Mac a lot more, and I just haven't been doing stuff with that app because I've been editing video on the Mac just to play around with that.
Man,
so
you're a changed man.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I'm still a grumpy old man, but you know, I'm a grumpy old man that likes Mac menu bar apps right now.
So yeah, that's it. Great app. We talk about it all the time, but wanted to really get into it a little bit more today.
Yeah.
I like it.
I just wanted to say I've used it exactly once, about a year and a half ago. I had to transcribe a video for work, and so I've got an M2 MacBook Air, and it took about 30 minutes. to transcribe at the time. But I was impressed. Like the quality of the transcription was really impressive, and that was a year and a half ago. So
One thing that you could do is you can pick different models you want. So if you want something faster and maybe a little less accurate, you can get a really fast model. I personally, since I have an M4 Pro Mac Mini that I'm running it on, I pick the most accurate model, but it's also the slowest.
yeah,
But it still rips through a video that I do in 4 minutes, no problem. So the accuracy is I'll take the accuracy, especially because I'm putting them on YouTube, where yes, YouTube does auto generate subtitles technically, but oh boy, are they not good.
They're not
And the
great.
nice thing about Whisper transcription is you get punctuation. It's not just like it's just not a cloud of words. It's actually like proper subtitles.
Oh, prediction. YouTube at some point they are going to upgrade their
Oh,
automatic subtitles, but and this is my prediction, it's going to be only for YouTube Premium subscribers.
I could see that. I can
Could be.
100% see that. And I could also see, I'm actually kind of surprised they haven't done something with these Whisper models already, or at least some, whatever
Yeah.
the Gemini version of a Whisper model is. But YouTube is so large. Like I've had dinner with a couple of people that work at YouTube, and the amount of video that they're constantly being, it's
It's crazy.
unfathomable. Like you can't, you like the amount of video and storage. It's just so like making changes like that. I can see definitely takes time. It's not something like, oh yeah, let's just jam this Whisper model in there. But yeah, I am kind of surprised. I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on that, or should we get to the challenge?
So
We
before
gotta
the
do
challenge,
Oh,
maybe we can convert part of the audio audience to the video version of the podcast by mentioning the fact that my cat is sleeping right here in the frame. There you go.
I mean, the only thing that gets more people to watch a video than a cat is a dog.
Yeah, and no such thing right now. There's only my cat.
I was hoping Matt had his dog next to him.
he's
Yeah.
sleeping next to me. I don't want to wake him up.
Oh, yeah, that's not.
Yeah.
See,
I really
this
don't-
is
I
why
really wanna-
I'm better, because my pet is also asleep, but she does so in the frame.
He's awake.
Niléane, you're really kicking me and Matt while we're down today.
Yeah,
you were making
truly.
fun of
Sorry.
my voice. You called us
Yeah.
old. Now you're like, I'm better than Matt because my cat sleeps in frame. Like,
Sorry, I like you. Just for the record, I like you.
All right. Well, let's get to the challenge. And yes, you should be watching the video version because the video version is quite entertaining. We will often make fun of each other or do something to tease each other while the other is talking. And yeah, you should check out the video version. But anyways, let's move on to the challenge. And
Yes.
Niléane, it was your challenge this week.
Yes, and for once, I wanted there to be no possibility to break the rules, which is why the challenge this week was 3 words and only 3 words. Automate your wallpaper. And the idea is interpret that however you want. Just automate your wallpaper however you want. There's no breaking the rules here. Unless you chose to automate your icons instead of your wallpapers. I don't know how you can manage to break the rules here.
I'm honestly a little nervous.
Matt, you're very nervous.
But yeah, I wanted to be nice. Something that we can have fun with, however you want. Should I go first?
Yeah.
If you want to, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, mine is pretty simple. So I will go first. You know how I love dynamic wallpapers on the
Yes.
Mac.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I'm really sad that we don't have a lot of them out there. There are some, but
I mean, you made your own.
I made my own once for this show as part of a challenge. But yeah, I wanted to get back into dynamic wallpapers once again. And I wanted specifically to set the macOS Mojave wallpaper as my Mac's wallpaper. Do you remember that wallpaper?
I do not.
That's
You
like
do
the
not.
sand dune.
I don't think I used Mojave. I think that was
Oh.
big iPad time.
Yeah, yeah. So you're right, Matt. That's the big sand dune in the middle of the
That's a
screen.
good one. It's one of the best.
It's one of the very first dynamic wallpapers that shipped because it shipped with macOS Mojave, which introduced dark mode on the Mac. And so it's a beautiful wallpaper. And the reason it's beautiful is because it's not just dynamic in the sense that it will switch from day to night. Instead, it will actually switch between, I don't know how many frames. Let me check.
Wasn't it hourly? I just looked it up. I remember this one. Wasn't it hourly? Like there was a new image for every hour, and like as the sun shifted.
Maybe not hourly, but I for some reason preview on the Mac closed by itself, so I don't have it anymore. Open. There you go. There are 16 frames, 16
Okay.
photos inside these dynamic wallpapers. And yeah, they go from like middle of the night to middle of the day to middle of the night again. There's sunrise, sunset, middle of the afternoon, zenith, all sorts of different phases of the day around this dune, this sand dune. It's beautiful. So yeah, I wanted to use this wallpaper again. You know what though? In macOS, if you go into system settings today in 2025 in macOS Sonoma, it's nowhere to be found. Apple removed it. It's not included in the dynamic wallpaper section on the Mac. So first off, why? Second, so okay, how do you get it back? So I tried to get it back as I started searching on Google, etc. And a lot of people have re-uploaded this wallpaper, but I have had no luck finding the original file with all 16 frames inside. When people re-upload this wallpaper, they usually either upload like just a day version and a night version separately, or they have a dynamic wallpaper which only includes a day version and a night version inside. But it's extremely difficult for some reason to find someone who uploaded the original wallpaper. And the answer to this question, how was I able to find it, is a bit disappointing, probably. I found it on my hard drive.
That's awesome. No, that's fantastic.
And I don't know, not a hard drive, in my iCloud drive, actually, inside a folder deep into my iCloud drive. It was there. I had saved it a few years ago. And so the full original quality, 6,000 by 6,000, I don't know how many pixels, and with all 16 frames inside. So here's the thing. I have something to suggest. If you can find it online, someone who has uploaded this original version, please let us know. Otherwise, maybe I can upload it myself, but I don't know how. If I'm allowed to, I don't know. So yeah, I know. Yeah, I was thinking about this. I was about to re-upload it before getting on the show, but I was like, should I do that?
Technically,
Yeah.
technically it's owned by
Hmm.
Apple, but
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, show notes me. I'm going to put a link to Stephen Hackett's page on 512 Pixels where he has all of the old ones. And I'll just leave that there. And if you upload your own, maybe that'll be in the show notes. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. And just wanted to mention on Stephen Hackett's page where he collects all the macOS wallpapers. It's a great place
It's really good.
to go to save your wallpapers and to restore some of your old favorite ones. Unfortunately, yeah, for the Mojave one, yeah, he doesn't have the original file and just a day and a night versions. So there you go. A bit disappointing end, but happy end as well because yeah, I have my wallpaper. I'm happy, and it's beautiful.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you found it.
Yeah, and the automate part I shall mention is all managed by macOS itself. It's a dynamic wallpaper, automatic.
Yeah.
When are we going to get
All right.
dynamic wallpapers on the iPhone and iPad?
Yeah, I know. I want.
I think Apple's answer to that is the live photo thing.
Yeah, all
which
the
is
astronomy ones.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hmm.
There's a live weather too. wallpaper.
Oh
So
yeah.
I mean, they can do it.
They have them, I guess.
They
Yeah.
have the
Mm.
technology. They just choose not.
We can rebuild them.
But even
Ah.
on macOS now, the dynamic wallpapers included in macOS are like they're very simple. They don't vary as much as just like in the same way that the macOS Mojave one
Mhm.
They
did.
just move a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
slight changes in shades.
Yeah. All right, Matt. What do you got?
I took this very literally.
Oh,
You automated the wallpaper in your office.
I
made
was
that
trying to
joke
think
last
of a
week.
way to have like a little poster come down or something to make it look like wallpaper.
green screen.
Oh, dang it! Yeah. Can we restart this podcast? Can I
Sure.
get that set up? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I feel terrible. I want to go to bed.
Yeah, Chris, can you do another hour?
No. I want to go to bed.
So I mean, I just did what of course I was going to do. I booted up Keyboard Maestro, and
Nice.
I set up a very simple automation to. Ironically, I haven't seen this happen since we last recorded. I tested it to make sure it would work, but I haven't actually seen it totally function. On my iPhone, or on all my devices, I guess, I have a weekend focus mode that kicks in at 4 p.m. every Friday and ends at like 4 a.m. every Monday morning. And it does a few things. But one thing it doesn't do is change my wallpaper, because I don't think you can do that with focus mode. I don't think a
Yeah, you
focus mode
can.
can have a wallpaper. Can you?
Well, focus. Well, okay. On an iPhone
Not
and
on a
iPad,
Mac.
a focus mode can have a dedicated wallpaper.
Can it? Okay. I'll need
Yes.
to figure that out. I knew you could change like the lock screen and the home
what you do?
screens.
So what you do? So for focus modes, you set up a specific lock screen,
Yeah.
and then it ties like the home screen wallpaper with the lock screen. So when you switch a focus mode, so I'll have like a focus mode for my personal stuff, my focus mode for work,
Yeah.
and the personal one's a little bit lighter mode, and then the work one is a darker version of kind of the same photo.
Okay.
thing.
Well, I didn't realize they'd added that at some point, and so I didn't do that.
Somebody doesn't watch my videos.
But you were talking about
but now I
your
will.
Mac.
So on my Mac, where maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't work anyway,
I have no idea there. Yeah.
what I
No, yeah.
did was I have my normal wallpaper that I use, which is a really nice one. I'll try to put links to these in the show notes. But I would use that wallpaper through the week. And then when weekend mode kicks in at 4 p.m., I have a Keyboard Maestro automation that just sets a different photo as my wallpaper that looks very, very nice as well, but indicates to me visually that it is the weekend and I should stop thinking about work and I can just have fun. And so that's it. And then it kicks in again at 4 a.m. on Monday morning. It goes back to the normal wallpaper and I can get back to business. But I could automate this more. Like with Keyboard Maestro, all things are possible. So I could do something. One thing I probably should do is when I record a YouTube video, I should probably just set the same wallpaper and make it boring. Although that would reduce my engagement. If you post a YouTube video, all the comments will be about, where's the wallpaper? Is there a
That's
link to the
true.
wallpaper?
Link. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. You know one of the comments that annoys me the most? Link ? I'm like, okay. And like I know what you're referring to, but
Yeah.
let's use a complete sentence here.
Yeah.
Like
It's
and also they're always in the description. So
yeah. Well, I often forget. Also, I'm very bad at interacting with YouTube, so I apologize if I don't respond. But yeah, I should just make it the same wallpaper every time, so that question doesn't come up.
Should we
But-
message every weekend, Chris? Just link.
that's how you get blocked.
Oh, okay.
I actually literally sent that to you last week when we recorded, because I was in the wrong meeting. And
Oh yeah, yeah, you did. That's right, you did. Yeah, that's right. No,
You knew what I was talking about, though. So
I did.
He-
I did.
Did he reply with his wallpaper?
I was going to
back?
say it would have been great if you were just so in the like, oh, this stupid. All right, here
$10.
we go.
$10 to join the podcast now.
So yeah, that's what I did. Very simple. Keyboard Maestro. Every time you say automate something, I'm going to open Keyboard Maestro and be like, can it do it? And yeah, I bet it can do it.
Nice.
Nice.
I like it. Will you keep it?
Oh yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought to do this because my phone adjusts like my home screen, so like different apps are on my home screen for the weekend. So like more just like movie watching and game stuff is on there. but I'd never considered updating my Mac for the weekend. So yeah, this will be fun.
Nice.
Well, I kind of took a journey. One thing I did way back before I even attempted to be an iPad person is I used to play with an app called GeekTools. Do you guys know what this is?
No.
Basically,
what was
it allowed you to put like custom things on your home screen, so like a clock or your calendar or media player stuff. Like it was widgets before widgets were a thing. And like it would be like right on the wallpaper, and like people would do like wild stuff, like split the wallpaper up, so like it would do the thing that kind of iOS already does, where like if you had like a mountain peak popping out, like it would just like cover a little bit of a clock or something like that.
Yes.
Anyways.
I do remember this. Oh.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna kind of recreate that. Now, keep in mind, pretty much this whole week. So we recorded the last episode late. So pretty much this whole week, I have had a cold. So I haven't been exactly at the top of my game. So I haven't exactly been batting 1,000. So I decided, I was like, you know what I really want? I want my calendar and tasks on my wallpaper. I want to see that. And I want to automate it so it shows up every single day. So I built this shortcut, and I put a link to it in the show notes for you guys, and we can put it in the show notes for everyone. But basically what this does is you pick an image, and that's your wallpaper, and then it goes through, it pulls all your calendar events, pulls all your reminders, formats them, and then overlays that text on your wallpaper, and then sets that as your wallpaper. Then I use Keyboard Maestro so that it runs every time I logged into the Mac Mini. So that way it was always, every time I'd log in, it would be updated for that day. So there's a screenshot in the show notes. You can take a look. It is not the best looking thing because like I could not design something this week. Like my brain was like that. But then as I was sitting down to prep for the show this morning, I remembered there's a feature in macOS now that allows you to put widgets on the home screen.
Yes.
So I was like, what was the purpose of this? So I did the challenge. I kind of was sick this week, so I totally forgot about a feature of macOS because, again, I'm rediscovering the Mac right now. That kind of makes this whole pointless because using widgets would be way better than this because you could actually check things off and it would update, instead of just when you log in, it would update all the time. So yes, you can use this if you like GeekTools. You could totally do this kind of thing with shortcuts where you overlay information. It does. I mean, you could do other things other than calendar reminders. You could have like the weather, or you could have you could pull like a quote from like a web service that has an API or something like that, and put that on there. Like there are a lot of other things that you could do with this shortcut. Just my brain this week that's all it allowed me to do. But yeah, that's kind of what I did. Just overlaid text onto a wallpaper. I didn't want to change my wallpaper image because my wallpaper image is a photo I took, and it's one of my favorite photos I've ever taken, where it's a shot of tunnel view in Yosemite at night, and it was a long exposure shot, so you kind of see the stars moving just a little bit, and I really like that. So yeah, that's what I did. I felt silly when I sat down this morning and remembered, widgets on the home screen on the Mac are a thing.
You just invented widgets. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But,
non-interactive widgets.
Thinking about GeekTool really, really takes me back. Like,
right?
I was a big macOS customization guy. I was Confabulator, it was Confabulator widgets. That was like widgets way back.
I think that was even before GeekTools, I want to say.
But like Confabulator, Quicksilver was my launcher.
Oh, yeah.
Quicksilver.
Oh,
I had it.
Quicksilver was the thing.
Never anything better. I used Shapeshifter to theme the UI. I really wish you could theme the macOS UI still. That was so cool.
You know what bugs me about macOS UI right now? So they did the whole thing with iOS 18 where like, hey, if you use dark mode, you get dark mode icons, but they didn't bother to do it with the Mac. I'm like, come on.
Just wait for the fall. Massive updates to all the interfaces.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Transparent icons.
But yeah, because that's what the iPad needs. A UI overhaul, not a functionality overhaul.
Hey, you know what? The rumor is an overhaul that's beyond just UI. So we'll see. We'll see.
I hope so, but I'm Well,
Well, yeah. Anyway, we're
I've
on a bit
been
of a
burned
tangent.
too many times.
I will say, if they're making another macOS update, look for more touch friendliness because it's coming. I'm not going to give this up.
I do think eventually the Mac and the iPad are on a path to
They're on a collision
crash.
course.
Collision. Thank you. My brain has just I am my brain's done.
Just want to say, this wallpaper that you shot, this photo, I love it. Like,
Thank you.
even before we knew each other, before we started the show, I was using this wallpaper for some time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I love
thanks.
this shot.
Yeah.
But also, like you're saying, there's no really an interest into doing this. But I think like if you got into it and spend some time, I'm just talking to like if people want to get into it and spend some time on it, they can make it look really nice. Like the ability to
Yeah.
integrate it into your wallpaper directly.
100%.
Aesthetically speaking, there are potential.
Yeah, I was gonna spend some time making this look really pretty and stuff. That just did not happen. Being sick this week, but no, you could do some really cool things. Like if you're somebody that would love like a new quote on your wallpaper every single day, like you could absolutely do that. I actually think this could be really useful, and all this is doing is using the overlay action in shortcuts. So basically, it's just taking the image. You put in whatever actions for the information you want to add to it, and then it's just the overlay action. The overlay action has a lot of customization options, including like margins, font size, all sorts of color, all sorts of different things. So it's actually a very powerful action that I don't think I've used it much in the past.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's the challenge. I have no idea how we judge who won this one or not.
I do appreciate that we all respected the rules. The 3 words.
Yeah.
Well done.
Did I mention I use keyboard? Yeah, I did mention I use keyboard
Yeah.
Maestro to automate it. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. My brain's okay. Let's kind of get to the end of the show because my brain is just
Let's do
diving
it.
off a cliff here. Matt, it is your challenge for next week. What do you got for us?
I have a similar one. Find a clever way to use text expansion.
Ooh, I like this.
So more than just at expands your email. Something clever, something interesting.
I like this. My brain's turning, but it's not turning very fast right now.
That's okay. You got a whole week to think about it.
Okay.
All right. Well, I like this. All right. Well, that just about does it for the end of the show. I'm just now realizing that normally I ask an end of the show question to the two of you, but I forgot to pick one, and I can't think right now. So, do you guys have something you want to ask the others by any chance?
Would you yes? Would you
Okay.
rather ride a bike for 1 year without pause, or get on a train for 10 years?
Train.
I'm literally on the bike all year long, 24/7.
Really?
No, I'm clarifying. That's me. I'm sitting on the bike. I cannot get off the bike. That's the situation.
What bike?
The bike you said in
the bike.
your question.
Bicycle?
Yes.
Do I not understand the challenge?
Are you?
Not the
do
challenge?
you have a bike at home?
No, he's asking if you're riding the bike. Like, if you pick the bike option, are you permanently stuck on the bike for a
like
year?
I'm not like
Are you
traveling.
asking for clarification? Okay.
Yeah, clarification. Like, do I get to sleep, or am I just constantly sitting on the bike seat?
No, you live your life on the bike.
Oh, the train then.
You just yeah. Instead of like having a car or something, you have to take a bike everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
I could live a life from a train.
Okay. Yeah.
I would do a train.
I mean, 10 years is a
especially if
long
it-
time. It's
Especially
tough.
if it's like a bougie train with like food, car, and like a bar or something. Like, yeah.
But you got to keep in mind, with a train, you cannot get like in too many places, whereas a bike, you have more flexibility.
Well, as you've already established, I'm just a shut-in, so that's not that big of a deal.
Oh, okay.
That's
So that was a
funny.
great question.
What's your answer,
Perfect.
Niléane? Bike or train?
Train all the way. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're all trained. All right. Cool.
Mm.
All right. Well, that just about does it for the show. Big thank you to Mac Stories. We are a Mac Stories podcast after all. Go check out all the other podcasts and writing and stuff. Do you guys have anything you want to promote that's coming out this upcoming week?
Severance is coming out today as we're recording, and this week, as you're listening, it's the it's the finale. I'm excited.
Oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. I'm still on like episode 3.
You got to catch up. Oh, you episode 3? You got episode 4 coming up? That's a good one.
Oh,
It's a good one.
yeah. That's one of those shows. Like Danielle's not interested in it, so it's like one of those shows I have to watch on my own. And right now, Daredevil's out, and I'd much rather be watching Daredevil. So
That's an
sorry.
insane statement.
I mean, it's Daredevil. Who doesn't love Daredevil?
Train.
Anyways, all right. Well, that just does it for the show. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day.
Bye.